A 73-year-old woman from Cincinnati paid $60 in baggage fees last spring that she didn't owe. Her neighbor, a retired school teacher, stood in a security line for 40 minutes when she could have walked straight through. And a couple from Phoenix, married 41 years, missed priority boarding they fully qualified for simply because no gate agent ever told them it existed. Here's what the airline industry won't say out loud. The moment you turn 60, a hidden door opens. Free services, protected rights, seat accommodations, and perks already written into airline policy, buried where they're counting on you never finding them. And listen, I've been researching this stuff for years. I've sat in airport terminals with a notepad, talked to gate agents on their breaks, read the fine print on customer service plans that are longer than most novels. What I'm about to share with you today isn't guesswork. It isn't clickbait. These are real perks, real rights, and real money sitting on the table every single time you fly. 12 of them to be exact. And I'll give you the exact words to say for every single one. Here's why airlines stay quiet about all of this. Every wheelchair request costs them staffing money. Every senior fare cuts into their revenue. Every lounge pass handed out during a delay is a pass they'd rather sell. Airlines board over 800 million passengers a year in the United States alone. A service announced is a service that costs money. So they wait, they stay silent, and they're counting on you to do the same. Don't. Let's get into it. Perk number 12. Free wheelchair assistance, even if you walk just fine. Here's the one that surprises people the most, and honestly, it surprised me too when I first dug into it. Wheelchair assistance at the airport is not just for people who cannot walk. It is a federally mandated service available to any traveler with mobility concerns, and that definition is broader than you think. Tired legs after a long travel day, heavy carry-on bags, terminal walks that stretch longer than a country mile, anxiety about navigating a busy airport alone. Any of these qualify. Airlines keep this quiet for one reason. Every wheelchair request costs them money, staff, coordination, logistics. But here's the part they cannot get around. They are legally required to provide it. They cannot say no. When you book your flight, request wheelchair assistance. You can be specific. If you can walk but need help with distances, request ambulatory assistance. That single phrase gets you a personal escort through security, often through a faster line. It gets you transportation directly to your gate, help with your carry-on bags, and priority boarding before general passengers, before first class. A quick word before we go on. As we get older, flying doesn't have to become more stressful or more expensive. There are free airline services, seat upgrades, airport assistance, and simple travel tricks that many seniors never realize they're entitled to. I've gathered 101 of the most useful airline secrets into a book called The Ultimate Senior Air Travel Bible. I won't mention it again. If you'd like to pick up a copy, you'll find the link in the description. I'll be honest with you, I know some people feel funny about requesting this, like they're taking something that belongs to someone who needs it more. But that's not how this works. The service exists for you. Use it. The insider move here? You can request wheelchair assistance for one direction only. If you're flying out for vacation but feeling energetic for the return trip, only request help on the way out. Completely your choice. Completely free and completely legal. Magic phrase, I'd like to request wheelchair assistance from check-in to my gate. Perk number 11. TSA Senior Screening Accommodations. TSA keeps this one surprisingly quiet. And I think it's because if they announced it, everyone would suddenly claim to be 75. But here's the truth. If you are 75 or older, you automatically qualify for modified security screening. No TSA pre-check application, no $85 enrollment fee, no background check or interview. You show up and the accommodations are already there. Here's what that looks like in practice. You can keep your shoes and light jacket on during screening. If the scanner triggers an alarm, you're entitled to a second pass through the equipment before a pat-down is requested. You are not jumping any line. not exploiting any loophole. These are published TSA guidelines for passengers your age. Now here's the part they really don't put on a sign anywhere. If the line is long and you're 75 or older, politely mention your age to a TSA officer before you step into the queue. Officers often have discretion to direct senior passengers toward shorter lines or provide additional assistance. They just wait for you to say something first. If you have any physical limitations, a medical device, or anxiety about the screening process, call TSA Cares at least 72 hours before your flight. The number is 1-855-787-2227. They will arrange a passenger support specialist to meet you at the checkpoint. No charge, no hassle. Magic phrase, I'm 75 and I'd like to mention that before we begin screening. Simple. That's really all it takes. Perk number 10, gate escort. Passes for your family. This one genuinely stops people cold when they hear it. I've told this to people at dinner parties and watched them put their fork down. Your son, your daughter, your neighbor, your best friend, since 1980, does not need a ticket to walk you to your gate. Most major U.S. airlines will print a free escort pass at the staffed check-in counter for any companion assisting a passenger who needs help navigating the airport. The pass clears security just like a boarding pass. Your companion walks with you through the checkpoint, carries your bag to the gate, sits with you until boarding begins, and waves goodbye when you step onto the jetway. Families fly for decades without knowing this exists. Decades. And it changes everything for a senior traveler flying alone, especially for someone managing health concerns or simply wanting a familiar face for the stressful part of the morning. A few things to know. You must ask at the staffed counter, not the kiosk. The kiosk cannot print escort passes. Your companion needs a valid government-issued ID. Arrive about 30 minutes earlier than you normally would, because the pass has to go through security with you. And during extremely busy travel periods, some airports limit the number of escort passes issued, so calling the airline 24 hours before your flight to confirm is a smart move. Magic phrase, I'd like to request an escort pass so my daughter can walk me to the gate. That's it. 2 minutes at the counter and your family comes with you. Perk number 9, free special meal upgrades on international flights. Most passengers on international flights open the menu, look at the 2 options, pick the one that sounds slightly less depressing, and wait. That's what most people do. Here's what you can do instead. Full-service international airlines load free special meals onto every flight. Low sodium, diabetic-friendly, heart-healthy, gluten-free. These aren't sad clinical trays either. They're ordered to specific dietary standards, and here's the part worth underlining. They come off the cart first. You eat 20 minutes before the rest of the cabin. While the flight attendants are still working their way down the aisle, your tray is already in front of you. For those of us watching blood pressure or blood sugar, this isn't just a comfort upgrade. It's actually useful. You order through the Manage My Booking section of the airline's website at least 24 hours before departure. It costs absolutely nothing, and if the website isn't showing meal options, a single phone call to the airline will handle it. One important thing, reconfirm your special meal at the gate on the day of travel. Occasionally, these miss the load sheet. It's rare, but it happens. A quick confirmation takes 30 seconds and protects you from disappointment somewhere over the Atlantic. Your defense? Order online 24 to 48 hours before departure. Call if the website won't cooperate. Reconfirm at the gate. Done. Perk number 8, priority pre-boarding. Without any documentation. Most seniors assume pre-boarding is for wheelchairs only. I assumed the same thing for longer than I want to admit. I genuinely thought there was paperwork involved. A doctor's note, a diagnosis, some kind of official form. There isn't. Under federal disability rules, any passenger who needs extra time or assistance to board simply tells the gate agent and they board before general passengers. You self-identify. That is the entire process. You do not have to explain your needs to a stranger. You do not have to justify anything. You say the words and you board. Your travel companion boards with you at no additional charge, even on the cheapest economy fare. Here's why this matters more than people realize. When you board early, you find overhead bin space. You get settled without the crowd pressing behind you. You can take your time with your coat, your bag, your seatbelt. You don't feel rushed. That alone lowers the stress of flying considerably. And I don't think we talk enough about how exhausting the boarding process is when you're fighting it rather than ahead of it. Tell the gate agent before boarding starts, not during the rush, before. That timing matters. Magic phrase, I need a little extra time to board. I'd like to pre-board, please. That's a sentence, not a form, not a fee, a sentence. Perk number 7, hidden senior airfares that don't appear online. I want you to hear this clearly because it costs travelers real money every single day. Booking online does not guarantee you the lowest fare if you're over 65. Comparison sites like Expedia and Skyscanner don't know your age. They assume you're paying standard price and they show you standard prices. Senior fares exist on many routes. They just don't surface unless you go looking specifically for them. On United's website, there is a passenger type menu that almost nobody touches. Select 65 and older, and senior fares appear on the routes that still carry them. On other carriers, the codes exist, but only reservations agents can see them. Delta, American, and several international carriers still file senior fares in specific markets, particularly routes popular with retirees. Air India offers passengers 60 and older up to 10% off base fares, 1 free date change, and an additional 10 kilograms of baggage allowance on international flights. British Airways AARP members have accessed discounts of $65 off economy and up to $200 off business class. When you call, don't just ask if they have discounts. That question often gets a flat no. Instead, say the specific phrase that triggers their system to check for unpublished rates. Magic phrase, is there a senior fare filed on this route that isn't showing online? 5 minutes before you book. That's the whole move. I've watched people save $50, $70, even over $100 on a single flight with one phone call. The senior fare didn't die. Airlines just stopped advertising it and started hoping you'd pay full price without asking. Compare any senior quote against the standard web fare before committing, because occasionally the web fare wins. But you won't know unless you ask. Perk number 6, free gate check on full flights. This one is my personal favorite, and I'll tell you why. Planes are fuller than they've been in decades. Overhead bins run out on almost every flight. That sounds like bad news. It isn't. For senior travelers, it's leverage. When gate agents announce the bins are full and ask for volunteers to check carry-ons at the gate, the bag goes free. No baggage fee. It gets tagged to your final destination, not just your connection. And here's the part I love. You don't have to lift it over your head and cram it into a bin while 40 people wait behind you. You hand it over at the door and walk onto the plane with nothing but your personal item. I gate check by choice now on full flights. I decided this somewhere around my 3rd time watching someone pull a muscle on an overhead bin, and I thought, that is not going to be me. Volunteer early. Ask the gate agent before the announcement happens. You'll often get priority handling before the rush. Confirm the tag reads your final destination. Keep medications, valuables, and anything fragile in your personal item because the checked bag goes in the cargo hold. No fee, no lifting, no drama. Perk number 5, medically necessary equipment. Flies Free Airlines cannot charge baggage fees for medically necessary equipment. This is federal law, and the definition of medically necessary is broader than most people realize. CPAP machines. portable oxygen concentrators, insulin coolers, nebulizers, walkers, canes, crutches, and wheelchairs, medication that requires temperature control. All of it flies free. None of it counts against your regular baggage allowance. A 70-year-old diabetic once packed his insulin cooler in his carry-on and brought his CPAP as his personal item. At the gate, an agent told him his bags were too large and started quoting him fees. He said 5 words. These are medically necessary items. The agent checked the system. The fees disappeared. He boarded without paying a cent. 5 words. Now, one important update for 2026. TSA currently requires proof of prescription for medications exceeding a 10-day supply. That means original pharmacy labels, a printed prescription, or a letter from your doctor. Keep medications in original containers with labels visible. Carry a printed letter from your physician listing all prescriptions and including their contact information. For liquids over 3.4 ounces, including liquid medications, declare them before screening begins and place them separately in a clear bag on top of your carry-on. Before leaving home, photograph every prescription label. Digital proof has saved travelers hours of unnecessary delay. Magic phrase, these are medically necessary items, and if you need to, I'm declaring liquid medication before screening. Perk number 4, seat accommodations. The law reserves for you. Most senior travelers don't know that certain seats are legally set aside for them. Not preferred seats with a fee attached. Legally required accommodations, free. If you cannot lower yourself over a fixed armrest, the airline must seat you in an aisle seat with a movable armrest. If you have a fused or immobilized leg, you are entitled to a seat with greater legroom. If a companion assists you during travel, that companion must be seated directly beside you at no extra charge, even on the cheapest available fare. The airline cannot sell your required accommodation back to you as an upgraded seat fee. That practice is prohibited under the Air Carrier Access Act. Here's how you claim it. Call the airline's accessibility desk at least 48 hours before departure. You describe the need, not a diagnosis. You don't have to say what condition you have. You simply say something like, I cannot lower myself into a middle seat, or I need an aisle seat with a movable armrest. The seat is arranged before you ever reach the airport. No fee, no upgrade charge, no fighting at the gate. For someone with decades of wear on the hips and knees, this is the single most comfortable phone call in air travel. Make it 2 days before you fly and you board, knowing exactly where you're sitting and that it works for your body. Perk number 3, the flight delay compensation package. Here's the situation airlines are counting on. You're sitting at a dead gate. The board says delayed. Nobody comes to the counter, nobody makes an announcement, and you wait. What the airline is not going to announce over the loudspeaker is that you're entitled to compensation. When a delay or cancellation is the airline's fault, meaning crew issues, maintenance problems, or scheduling failures, every major U.S. carrier has committed in writing to provide meal vouchers after 3 hours and hotel accommodations with transportation if you're stranded overnight. These commitments sit on a federal dashboard maintained by the Department of Transportation. They are publicly accessible. They are binding. And since late 2024, federal rules require automatic cash refunds, not vouchers, when your flight is canceled or significantly changed and you choose not to rebook. Nobody hands you any of this. You ask for it. Go to the airline counter calmly. Be firm. One word matters more than you might expect. Ask whether the delay is controllable. That specific word triggers the airline's obligation. A weather delay does not qualify. A mechanical issue does. A crew scheduling problem does. Here's something else worth knowing. Many airlines have internal senior flexibility policies, unwritten guidelines allowing additional accommodation for passengers over 60. A 68-year-old mentioned her age and explained she had a medical appointment the following morning. The gate agent rebooked her on a competitor airline, handed her a $50 meal voucher, and gave her lounge access. None of that was required. She got it because she asked calmly, explained her situation, and the agent had the discretion to help. Magic phrase, this was a controllable delay. I'd like the meal vouchers and hotel accommodations your airline committed to on the dashboard. Document everything. Take photos of the delay board. Keep every receipt. Save every email confirmation. Perk number 2, complimentary lounge access during long delays. 200 feet from where that 73-year-old woman sat on a plastic chair during her 8-hour Chicago layover, there was a quiet lounge. Comfortable seats, free food, real coffee, clean bathrooms. She had no idea. 8 hours on that chair. Here's the truth. Gate agents have discretion to issue complimentary lounge passes during significant delays. Not guaranteed, not published anywhere, but it happens regularly for travelers who ask politely at the right moment. A retired teacher during a 6-hour delay asked her gate agent one simple question. The agent handed her a $59 day pass, free, because she asked. Wait until the delay hits 5 hours or more. Approach the gate agent calmly. Mention your age and any medical considerations. Also check your credit card benefits tonight. Visa and MasterCard often include automatic lounge access during qualifying delays that millions of cardholders never use. Magic phrase, I am a senior traveler with a long wait. Is there any accommodation available? Perhaps lounge access? Perk number 1, the complaint resolution official. The Federal Referee Airlines. Hope you never meet. I saved this one for last because it's the most powerful thing on this entire list. Every U.S. airline is legally required to have a complaint resolution official, a CRO, available at every airport every hour they operate. Their entire job is settling passenger rights disputes on the spot. Wheelchair denied? Ask for the CRO. Pre-boarding refused? Ask for the CRO. Seating accommodation rejected? Ask for the CRO. The moment you say those 4 words, everything shifts. Gate agents go entire careers rarely hearing this request. A passenger who asks for a CRO is a passenger who knows their rights, and suddenly everyone gets a lot more careful. This isn't a trick. It's a federal protocol built specifically to protect you. Magic phrase, I'd like to speak with your complaint resolution official, please. Write that down. Put it in your phone right now. That one sentence puts a federal referee in your corner. Your action plan and closing. Here's your action plan before your next flight. At booking, request wheelchair assistance if you have any mobility concerns at all. 24 hours before, call the airline directly and ask about senior fares on your route. At check-in, mention your age and ask what senior accommodations are available. At the gate, request pre-boarding if you need extra time. If there's a delay, ask about the compensation your airline has committed to in writing, and if anyone denies a right you know you have, ask calmly for the complaint resolution official. These perks exist because regulations, federal law, and decades of advocacy created them for travelers exactly like you. Airlines aren't always going to remind you. That's the whole point of today. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these 12 surprised you the most? Have you ever successfully used a senior travel benefit, or have airlines given you the runaround when you tried? Drop your experience in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what another senior traveler needs to read before their next flight. If this opened your eyes to benefits you didn't know you had, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Every week I dig into the travel rules they're counting on you not knowing. I'll see you in the next one. Safe travels, everyone.